It's always been important to me in my own study of Tai Chi and of teaching it to others that it is adhered to some cultural history and background. So there is nothing in this art that has arrived here in the present day by accident. I brought out onto the table today some of the gifts that China has given to the world over millennia. So firstly, we have paper here. And then tea. In the early history of tea, it was often given as a medicine, and then later on became an integral part of the monastic tradition. Perhaps as a stimulant during long hours of meditation practice. In fact, there's a saying in Chinese Buddhism that the taste of cha, which is tea, is the taste of chan, which means meditation, Buddhist meditation, that is. So the taste of tea is the taste of meditation, which is actually palindromic. It can be said that the taste of meditation is the taste of tea. So you can see the depth of the importance that tea plays in the tradition of meditation, of which Tai Chi in its moving forms is most definitely one. From the making of tea, the production of tea wares to an extraordinary degree of competence and beauty. The secrets of this China, the word we give it, remaining in Asia for well into the second millennia AD, until the secret was revealed. So tea wares form an important and integral part of Chinese culture. I'm just going to have a sip of this very nice green tea today. A little welcome note of bitterness there. And lastly on my table, I've brought a little treasure that has come to me through my family, and is the subject, perhaps, I could say, of today's guidance talk and demonstration. And that is a piece of silk. Embroidered silk, in fact. And I'll make sure I put an enlargement of this piece of woven silk onto the film as I sent it out to you. I'll just move the paper. So silk, it is reckoned, was first produced in China about 4,500 years before the Common Era. And sericulture, which is the culture of producing silk from the moth that feeds on the mulberry leaf, has existed unbroken until that time and forms a huge part of Chinese history in terms of its trade, obviously. So silk is drawn from the moth cocoon. And all this would have been done for many, many thousands of years by hand before any kind of industrialization. It has to be drawn from the cocoon in a slow but continuous drawing action. So one thread moving from the cocoon until being affixed to a very simple wheel, from where that tension of drawing wound the silk onto the wheel. And it's quite hard to believe, but one filament of silk from one cocoon can reach to almost a mile in unbroken length. And its structure is very like our own hair structure, in that it is crystalline, lying crystal upon crystal in its molecular structure. And this gives it its reflective, gorgeous sheen. So unlike wool from an animal, which is short of structure in molecular chain and slightly fuzzy, therefore, the smoothness of the silk becomes very highly prized, and we end up with silk embroidered panels such as this. And this actually is an insignia of rank for the civil administrative classes, and would have been worn attached to the clothing either at the front or the back. And the animal depicted, and I think this is a mandarin duck, they're rather hard to fathom, there's lots of differences to be found, was about the fourth rank in the imperial court of civil administration. So this slow movement, this drawing movement, as if of silk being drawn through the body, is what gives Tai Chi in particular its unending flow of energy. And the more practice goes into this, developing of the flow of silk-like motion in the body, then the more the posture and the body and the mind too become bonded together with a resilience very hard to break. Tai Chi becomes known as the soft martial art because it's of appearance of softness. But that softness hides within it, you could say, a tremendous reserve and depth of inherent tensile strength. And in the next part of the little film, I'll demonstrate some of the silk techniques of Tai Chi. See what you can see. I shouldn't forget to say that the roses have come out in the Solace garden. They're tumbling over the partition fence at one side of the building. And the scent is quite extraordinary. I brought some of these inside from my kitchen table, and every time I move through the room, I get this wonderful depth of English rose. So, here's the silk. So in order to come upon the silk in the body and in the posture and in the mind too, to have done some preparation in terms of swings, really open up all the joints, to have done some standing practice, the stillness in happening, to have undertaken some of the walking practice too, so as to develop the sense of ground under the body, under the feet. So those three elements are obvious, descriptive from the word: swings, standing, walking. Silk is somewhat other. It's an idea. First in the mind, then in the body. What is the motion of silk? So I'm just going to show you three simple paths of guidance. Here's the first: to slow down. To make a simple flowing through the body, rising from the ground, coming up through the posture, flowing forwards to the hands from the soft shoulders, and returning. So the drawing of the silk from the cocoon, in actuality, has a balance within it of tension, necessary tension, and uninterrupted action. If the tension is too strong, too fast, the silk will snap. Too slow, will sag and drag on the floor and lose shape. The balance of motion and tension. Here, showing you it in symmetry. And in asymmetry. Still balanced. Now then, the winding of the silk. Circular motion. From the ground, through the center, in the body, in the mind. Softness, flowing. So for yourselves, you might like to make 6 passes of the palm across the body. Single palm on each side. And in this action of silk, I'm moving the weight, turning through the center, much as we did in the swings, following the action of the arm. So this is single palm, winding or turning, reeling the silk. And here comes the third place, the third part I should say. Working the palms from the ground, through the strength in the legs, up through the posture, flowing through the shoulders to the hands. Winding the silk around the body. Cocoon-like itself. So there are multiple permutations of this action. Silk in the body. Silk in the mind. First in the mind, then in the body. When in the body, then in the mind again.